When the Russians invaded Ukraine in February 2022, the world awakened to the threats that might be around them. Especially in Eastern Europe, the countries were watching what took place in Ukraine and realized they were far behind in their abilities to defend themselves. And the race was on around the world to provide Ukraine with the ammunition it needed to defend itself, but also what are referred to as the nervous neighbors, who also wanted to protect their sovereignty and their freedom. Most of the defense production facilities in the U.S. were designed and constructed in the years after the start of World War II. They're aging, many of them are 70 to 80 years old, and in desperate need of modernization. And it was clear after the invasion of Ukraine, we had limited stockpiles, limited capacity to produce new munitions, and greater attention had to be played on creating the capacity we needed not only to defend ourselves, but to defend our friends and allies around the world. Zimmermann is uniquely positioned to support the Department of Defense and its friends and allies around the world because we've been producing munitions for the government and our allies for over 120 years. For example, in 1917, when German U-boats were sinking ships along the coast, Zimmermann was called upon to help convert American industry into a wartime production footing. In 1940, Zimmermann designed and constructed the Iowa Army ammunition plant, and we did it in 11 months. The government was so impressed by that, they asked us to manage the facility, which we still do to this day. After 1950, when North Korea invaded South Korea, the government once again called upon Zimmermann to produce munitions at what was the Lone Star Army ammunition plant, and we still manage that today. The key munitions that the Ukrainians today are using is the 155 millimeter artillery piece, and they're using it to great effect. And Zimmermann has been producing that since the 1970s. So there were times in history where companies are called upon to step up and deliver. And Zimmermann has a long history of being recognized as one of those companies that when duty calls, when freedom and democracy around the world are threatened, Zimmermann steps up and delivers.